David Paulides spent 20 years in law enforcement, then a couple of years in the tech sector before he found his true calling as a writer and investigator. About a decade ago, he was approached by a National Park Service ranger and was given sort of an inside tip about missing persons in national parks and national forests. Paulides started looking at these cases, amassed a gigantic database, tens of thousands of cases, but whittled them down to a particular set. He would rule out cases that have, obviously you would expect people to disappear in national parks and forests. They fall off a cliff, they get eaten by a bear, they just get lost. But he whittled his down to specific criteria. And those criteria make for some very strange investigations and very strange results.
Dave, let's start with broad strokes. How long have you been working on this? How many books now and how many cases?
I've been on it for about 9 years, 8 books, 1,200 cases, but I've probably looked at over 5,000 or 6,000 cases to dwindle it down to 1,200.
It's really struck a nerve with the public, though. I mean, that you get information and inquiries and responses every day.
All the time. And it's exponential. I mean, as the years have gone on, I've gotten contacts now from throughout the world about similar things happening in other countries.
There's a learning curve for it, though. It's hard to get, you have to get over the hump to explain that it's not just people wandering off into the woods and getting lost. It goes beyond that.
Absolutely. And when I talk about it, I explain that there's 15, 20,000 missing person cases throughout the world that I've looked at and just breezed over, but they don't fit the profile really of what we're looking at. And when you read a report, nothing maybe hits you right in the face as being unusual about something. But when you look at 500, then you look at 5,000, certain elements start to show themselves. And after those cases have been filtered through, you come up with certain profile points, I call. And it's similar to what the FBI does in profiling a criminal case. We're profiling missing persons cases to find those common elements that are unusual that seem to fit the specific category we've refined.
You got people go missing in areas like this all the time. They wander out into a national forest, into a park. Of course, it's wilderness. It's natural for people to get disoriented, get lost. That's not what you're talking about. You weed those cases out. You weed out bear attacks, lion attacks, drug dealers in the forest, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. There's certain elements that are eliminators, namely voluntary disappearance, mental health issues, animal predation. Those kind of things, once we see them, they're eliminated. So it's those easy answers to the cases that aren't there in these cases. And in these cases, there's certain elements that show themselves. The most common one is they bring in tracking dogs, bloodhounds, and they can't pick up a scent. And that's evident in 99% of the cases I've written about. And that is unusual.
Also unusual are the ones that they find. I mean, some they never find at all, but the ones that they find, some very few who are alive, and can't exactly remember where they were, but some are found in areas that are searched over and over again. It's as if they're taken away and brought back, and a lot of times.
You hit the nail on the head there, and I want to make it clear that this is not dissing on the searchers because they do a phenomenal job. They're volunteers. They thank God we have them. But there's a number of cases, hundreds of cases, where the victim is found in a place that's been previously searched, and not once, not twice, maybe 20 times.